Hi, everybody. Matt here from Matt Likes Comics. Welcome to the show. Our first show our first show here since I hit my subscriber goal, and we are going to have a giveaway, which I'm really looking forward to. My guest tonight is Aubrey, known as AG in the chat. How are you doing tonight?
I'm doing great. I'm super excited to be on the show. We planned this out a little bit ago, and I'm always a big fan. So thanks for having me.
Well, that's appreciated. So just before we see the chat, I've got to make a couple of quick announcements tonight. My video that you're going to make the comments on will be airing tomorrow morning at 11 a.m. Eastern. It will have the instructions on what I want you to type. There is a hashtag. I'm not going to give it away now. It'll be much funnier in the video. Adam at Up and Adam Comics, when I last checked today, was at 96 subs. Is that still true? Can JSS, can you do me a quick check? Because if we get him to 100 subs on the broadcast today, I will add a sixth prize. We just need 4 of you out there to subscribe to Adam. Okay? Great. So let's say hi to the chat at this point. Hi, Robbie. Good to see you. Thomas was my guest last week. We had a good conversation. I was happy to have him on. We've got Lyle on, who's going to be my guest next week with yet another version of What Does Lyle Have Hidden in the Basement? We've got Kay Munin. Good to see you, Andreas. We have JSS Brooklyn. Good to see you, John. Comic Mike. We've got Steven, the Collecto6. He's asking, how are you?
Hey, Steven, how you doing?
And that is all we have in the chat at the moment. So, without further ado, then, let's get into our topic of tonight, your collection. Tell everybody out there what made you decide to collect comic books. What was it about comics that appealed to you that got your interest in the first place?
Well, I mean, as a kid, I was into. My mom would read me comic books. We would go and pick up books from the grocery store. Mostly, she'd pick up Incredible Hulk, Spider-Man, and some Superman. And then I kind of stepped away from comics, although I was always into the movies and
right,
the pop culture stuff. I had hats and outfits and underoos and all that stuff. But then recently, about only a couple years ago, I retired. I had a business that I was running, and I sold it, and I was looking for hobbies. And
nice.
And I'm into economics. I like doing research, and I love pop culture. And doing the comic books, allowed me to kind of reconnect to that time when I was a kid, when I loved, when I loved my favorite characters, and I would show some of my first books I got as I got back into comic books about 2.5 years ago, and I've been kind of like a man with a hair caught on fire, but I don't have any hair. Getting involved in buying a lot of books, and it's, to me, it's also besides the interest in the books itself, there's something that holds value. I'm kind of a value buyer. I don't FOMO very much. I don't.
You're so lucky.
I try to buy books that are going to hold their value, and I won't regret purchasing them at any point. So, and and obviously I've been into watching, all the YouTube channels, and I think, I got in, and I first wanted to collect, your basic Spider-Man and Batman, and would go on YouTube and research, the different books. And eventually I got onto Alan's channel,
Nice.
And from there, and it was mostly at first because I had the interest in the Silver Age, and uh, from his platform, I went and learned a lot about the Golden Age and all the books from there, and watching his show. I'm very influenced by him and Steven. And that Monday show is just so good
It
and
really is.
informative. And Steven's this great guest whenever he's on any show. Um, that it's really influenced, me getting into Golden Age and into
Mhm.
not just the DC superheroes and stuff, but the Good Girl and the Pre-Code Horror collection. And and I think at Alan's channel, Alan's like your favorite comic book creators, favorite comic book creator. I think there's all. I mean, there's so many in his community. There's so many great content
Right.
producers like yourself. Um,
Oh, I appreciate the kind words.
yeah, that follow him and are kind of part of that whole community, and it is very rich. And I watch a lot of the people's channel that are part of that community. So I don't think I'm the
Robbie
only
has a
person who gets
question.
fired.
Awesome.
Mhm.
Robbie has a question for you. Is the hunt the best part of collecting for you?
Yeah, it is. You know, um, I'm like a spreadsheet nerd, and I love numbers and
Hi, Steve.
l-
Hi, Celia.
looking at data, and um, so I like to, especially for the bigger books.
Hmm.
I like trying to go out and think what a good price is, and I try to approach it kind of as non-emotional as I can. And it's hard. It's hard because these books are so cool. Um, but I try not to lose my shirt over certain books. So yeah, that's
Speaking
definitely.
of shirts, today I've decided to go with Chonko. There's actual
Oh,
Chonko.
very good.
I had Big and Nasty on earlier today before I got this set up. I did a couple of new videos to air at a future date, and I threw on the Big Nasty T-shirt. So I figured, I wore Alan's last night on the broadcast with him. So I figured I'd move it up a little.
When are you gonna do some merch?
Um, I have two reasonably big shows coming up soon that I'm saving money for, plus my giveaway, which I have to do a little bit of postage for. I have picked up all the prizes except for one, which of course I can't do until it's given out because it's going to be a gift card at. So until I do that, so I've got some other monetary things first, and then I'm going to look at T-shirts. Hopefully by Christmas, some people may find a little package from me in their mailbox. That's the timeline I'm looking at. So, what are your favorite books to buy? Like, if you had, okay, for example, if there was a choice between four, which one would you consider? And I'm not going to throw out these four. I'm going to say, which one would you consider your priorities?
Okay. Um, I I like Golden Age, and the reason why I like Golden Age is because of the low census count. Um, and I like feeling that you've got something special and unique. Um, and so and it's nice it's nice if I like it. I like a book if it's culturally relevant today and has a kind of like a history or a tie back to the Golden Age. And I also like, books that have some type of historical significance, either within the hobby itself or, even from a broader sense, even. We still on? Okay. Let me see here.
Sorry about that. I've been having some computer issues lately, and I'm terribly sorry. Now we're
Okay.
at the point I'm going to ask you, AG, I'm going to make you big, and please show us some of your wonderful books. I'll be in the background, and I will comment and or have questions. I will speak up.
All
Okay?
right. All right. Sounds good.
Okay.
Um, well, recently, as you guys know, when Stephen picked up his new Detective Comics 31, um, there was Alan had reached out to me, and we were talking about, I was really into some of the books that I was into, um, and then he had mentioned it kind of connected me up with Yaniv, and he had, has a couple of books that Stephen from his collection, and I'm going to start off and show some of those books. And like I mentioned, Stephen's been a huge influence. Not just watching him on the show, but he's very approachable. I'll contact him on Instagram, um, and he'll give me advice. And he's good at reminding me not to FOMO or overpay for certain books. That even Golden Age books come around, and
Yeah,
um,
I really applaud people who can resist FOMO. One of my biggest problems my entire life is I've been very impulsive in the sense that if I want it, I gotta have it.
yeah, totally. I think it's a definitely it's a trap. When you see something, and especially if you're in like an auction situation, emotions can really run high. But anyway, there were some books that I was looking for, and Alan reached out and pointed me in that direction. So I'm going to start off with showing some of the some books that are from his collection, and they're very special to me because of how important Stephen is to the our community and such. So this book, I just think is fantastic.
It's right in the
Fantastic,
title.
yeah, Fantastic Four, number 52, and 8.5. It's just gorgeous. And
That's a beautiful book.
if Stephen, if it's from his collection, that it's going to present well and it looks good, and this one does. And um, I like Black Panther. Um, I do like Silver Age too. Um, and this is directly from Stephen's collection. It's one of the books.
Yeah, it's a beautiful book. We did that one on our book club with we did that on our book club with Biggie Shap not too long back, and it was an interesting book, but I had a hard time because I didn't know everything behind it. I hadn't read 51, 50, that kind of stuff first. So
Yeah, and is it 4950 and 51 as
yeah,
the trilogy? That's one of my favorite storylines of all time. I assume that this summer is going to be very similar to that.
yeah,
Um,
I'm hoping
Trilogy.
I have reasonable expectations of the FF movie, but I don't expect it to be the best thing ever.
Yeah.
I just hope it's entertaining.
Oh, I'm sure it'll be all right. I'm sure. Here's another book from Stephen's collection. Another one that's really nice, presents really well for a 4.0. This is The Dead Who Walk. And I've I remember seeing this on Alan's channel, and was super excited when this became an opportunity. And I don't know. I think that this is maybe an inspiration, maybe for Walking Dead. Maybe, I don't know. It's got
Um,
zombies. Dead Walk.
okay, I was going to say, are they zombies? That's a beautiful. By the way, that is a wonderfully drawn woman on the cover.
Yeah, yeah. This is pre-code horror and Good Girl.
Was this
Both.
Stevens as well?
Yeah, this is from Stephen's collection as well.
Yeah, I don't remember Stevens showing it, but I'm sure he has.
Now this one will be very familiar. There's another one, and I tried to pick up whatever I could. Um, this is Manhunt number 14. This is an LB Cole.
Very nice.
I collect LB Cole. I've got a pretty large LB Cole collection. I've got a lot of money invested in his stuff, and this one's just a really neat cover. and I think one of his undervalued books as well. It's got the little guy. He's in a hypodermic needle, and it's
Very
going
nice.
into a woman that's in bondage.
Yes, I that book I remember. I was sad to see that he was letting it go, but I understand why he did it. I mean, this is a great book. Everybody knows out there how awesome Steven's taste is and such. And this is such a brilliantly looking book.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's a good way to put it. His tastes are really good. uh, Here's another one that's from Steven's collection. Erie 13, and similar, right? It's got a
Yes,
nice girl in it,
yes,
and it's a pre-code horror.
that is true. And you know, another great cover. Who's the cover artist? It should say at the top there.
Yeah, Harry Lazarus.
Lazarus, Harry Lazarus. I see. I'm not really familiar with that one, but I'm sure Stephen or Alan can tell me a lot more about him.
Yeah, for sure. I also collect skull covers, and I showed on Alan's. I've got the Punch 12.
Yes,
It's one,
I remember that. That's a good cover.
yeah, that's one of the prizes in my collection too. And so anyway, so this one also came from Steven's collection, and then, which is interesting, another one, and it's almost, I think it's almost the same cover. It's a swipe.
I need
This is
just a
Erie.
second there. Just a second there. Hi, Chonko. Nate, can you check Adam's subscribers and let me know where it's at? Because as some of you may have missed it, but if we get up and Adam to 100 subscribers tonight, I will add another prize to my giveaway.
And this looks like this is almost the same cover. Erie number 5, and it's a Wally Wood cover, but it looks. I don't know if I can see if I can get them both in there.
Nice.
And
Those
don't
are.
they look the same? Like it's got a girl. It's got a it's not.
They almost look like somebody just took the same idea and almost did a cover swipe.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm.
And speaking of cover swipes, this is another one of Steven's books,
Yes, the
War
War
Fury number
Fury.
1,
Nice.
and that is, and the artist on that is Don Heck.
Yes, that one I knew. Don Heck is. I've watched them enough to know that one. I've seen these many times.
And that's the swipe.
Yeah, I think it's hilarious that they got away with that sort of stuff. But to be honest, back then there probably wasn't a lot of people, checking them out and saying, "Oh, let's steal this per se," especially if it's the same company.
Yeah.
And the same artist. So,
And
hi, archivist.
oh, hi, Jason. Everyone, make sure you vote for Jason for Comic Book Community Awards.
Oh, hi,
he's
Jason. I didn't know your full name.
he's got a really good channel, and I think he'll be up for comic pressing.
Yeah, I do think he's pretty good. I've started watching your stuff, and I think it's really, really good. So what was my next question? Oh, keep going. Sorry. My next comment is this: for those that don't know, Aubrey does not have a YouTube channel, but he does have an Instagram.
Yeah, everybody
So,
check me out on Aubrey Desaraga.
yeah, he puts up a lot of these books, a lot of great covers. If you're in the golden age and stuff, I think it's fantastic.
Now, speaking of cover swipes, I think I showed on Alan's show my Cinderella 25, and I'll show that here in a second. But I just picked this up, which
Thank
is
you very much. Just a second. We have a new member of the channel. Thank you very much, Terry. Dead Man Comic Cover Show. Thank you very much.
so this is January 4th, 1947, Liberty Magazine. And this is the artist is Ernest Shiraka.
Very nice.
And here is Cinderella Love 25.
Also another great book.
Yeah.
Yeah, so to cover swipe there.
Yeah, it
Thing
looks
is,
like,
it's a good thing to swipe. It's very nice. By the way, JSS Brooklyn just put the link to your Instagram page on in the chat. Thank you very much.
yeah, thanks. And then here was the big book that I was looking for from Stephen's collection that I was
Yes,
really interested in. One of my favorite books, Phantom Love 17.
that is a book I would like to buy someday, but I've got other priorities first. But that is one that I've always wanted.
And this is, yeah, and this is of course, it's a gorgeous copy. It's it's a restored, and in my opinion, this book has gotten out of control price wise. So I was looking specifically for a restored book, and that's what I was talking to Alan about. And he's like, "Oh, Steven's getting rid of his."
Hmm.
And I literally I watched the show on Friday that that he had, and I had this book bought on Saturday. So
That's very, very cool.
now, also, the next book I'm going to show is, now this one I think is very rare. It's from, and this is from, in terms of, this is from Alan's collection.
Wow.
Because he doesn't, he doesn't give up his books very much.
That is true, but I did manage to get 3 off them this weekend that just passed, all lowest lanes. So
Oh, nice.
yeah.
Cool. And this is a really nice cover. Apparently he was upgrading this book. It's Romantic Adventures number 50, and the cover art is Ogden Whitney. And
Steven, can you find some good book? Can't you find some good books to show? Oh.
and then here are just some other books that I've picked up recently. Kind of the part of the same deal. This is Batman number 65.
Nice. That's a nice looking Catwoman cover.
It's a nice big Catwoman appearance, and the first appearance of Wingman. I'm not familiar who Wingman is, but
I used to know. I'll probably remember after the broadcast, but yeah, I get that.
I'd say if you don't know, then not very many people.
JX, cool books and all, but where's the ferret stash?
Now this is also another pickup. Actually, this was like I got the lead from Chonko. Mike knew that I was looking for this book, and he sent it in my direction. He knew that it was a book that I would like, and I really appreciate that he did that. This is Blue Beetle 54.
Yes, that is such a beautiful book. It's so funny. It's the Blue Beetle, and he's literally in this little circle in the corner, and then the rest of it is this, the magic bra that stays on without any support.
Yeah, and this is it has one of those, it's called a CVA designation, which is if a book has like an exceptional like appearance or cover, and it's like another level of after you get CGC qualified, you can get, like, if your book has like exceptional colors or presents really well, they'll certify that. And this has, even though it's a 1.5 brittle pages, it's gorgeous. It's very nice for a 1.5.
It's a very nice cover. And to be honest, that cover by itself is better than a 1.5. I don't understand why that's. I mean, I'm not knowing anything else about it. The interiors, for all I know, are crap. But
yeah, like the
it
back cover
presents
looks
so
good.
well.
back cover looks good, and the spine looks okay. I haven't read the notes, but here's another recent pickup.
Good point, archivist Jason.
What did he say?
He said maybe a spine split, and then JX is saying maybe tape inside.
Yeah.
Steven is saying brittle pages is a killer. Yeah, they're all those things could be, but at least we have it in the package, and it looks really good.
Yeah, it looks good on the wall.
Yes, that to me. That's the important thing.
You know, and I like my good girl covers to be high grade, and everything else I'm really not. You know, I'm more into the book, and so I'm not. You know, I'm not super great on or consistent on getting
Yeah.
Goodread books. Here's another recent pickup. It's a Carl Huber art, Liberty Comics number 12. Another skull cover.
Oh, that's gorgeous. I've never seen this one before,
Oh yeah,
to my knowledge.
yeah. It got a guy with a knife in his back, and the guy standing over it with the skull in the background. And it's from and it's from 1946.
I like the skull. The fact the skull is wearing the same colors as the costume on the clown guy who's been killed, in sort of a knit capped kind of way.
Here's another skull cover, kind of part of the same pickup that I just got. Fantastic Fears number 4, 6-0, off white and white pages. I like this one.
Nice. That is gorgeous.
It's like a skull family getting married to this nice woman.
I actually think that these older skull covers from the Golden Age, where it's just pencils and ink, look much better than the skulls that they do now, because the skulls now look too a little realistic on the covers, and it doesn't feel the same as comic books. I think I prefer the Golden Age ones.
Yeah, I think so too. This one I know Alan has. I've seen him show this book. This is not from his collection, but Ranger Comics 38.
Oh yeah, John.
And who's the cover? It's John Salardo. And it's a hanging cover. And it's it's a Western. There's not a lot of Western books that are collectible. So I remember this was a pretty good price. It was under $1,000. And even in an 8.0, off-white pages. So
yeah, Alan and I went to a show this past weekend, and we noticed together, like, it was kind of weird how Westerns are literally getting their own box, and they're sort of in the back now because nobody's buying them. This one place we looked at, literally just about every book he had was Gene Autry or Dale Evans. It was nothing else.
Yeah.
Again, well, there's nothing I can do about it right now, Stephen, or I'd lose my power.
Here's another pickup. This one's very low grade, but this is a classic Matt Baker cover. Police Cases, and I'm not sure what the number is, to be honest. Are you there, Matt?
Yep. Yeah. Sorry. Again, see, like it clicks off. It like I'm finding that whenever someone tells me it's a scratchy microphone, it's almost like a clue that something's going to screw up. So, thanks, Stephen, for letting me know.
And then another recent pickup, an LB Cole cover. I like underwater covers. This is Terrors of the Jungle number 20.
Very nice.
Now, here's it. Another recent pickup, Chilling Tales number 16.
Nice. Oh, that's beautiful. That's another one I don't think I've seen before.
It's a Henry Kiefer art. It's got the girl in sorry.
Steven wants to know if that was his.
I think it is. I think so. And look, I mean, it's got a good girl, and it has
Lots of
pretty
creepers.
good horse.
Nice. Looks like the Four Horsemen without the horses.
And then I've got This Magazine is Haunted #3. And this is a 1.0 with cover reattached to tape, with tape. So that's why that's a 1.0.
Very
And now
nice.
I'm going to show something kind of interesting. One second, let me get this out here. Kind of part of the same recent pickup. And I think anybody but Steven can take a guess. So this is a piece of original art that I picked up. You want to take a guess who's the artist? This is from.
I couldn't even begin to think.
I'll try if I can get it closer. Can you see the name? It's Alex Schomburg.
Alex Schomburg. Very nice. No, Steven, of course, knows that. The problem is for me is I'm seeing it small, so I can't see all the details that that everything is. Like the closer you bring it, the more I see.
And it's tiny. This is from a pulp. I think this is from like an interior of one of, he did a lot of science fiction books back in the 60s when he kind of moved on from and was doing much less stuff in the comic book space. But this is the first. Alex Schomburg is, even though he's probably my favorite artist, I don't have any of his books. This is my first Alex Schomburg piece that I have, and my first piece of original art.
That's very cool. I don't have any Schomburg either, and I would like to get my hands on it, but it's a little expensive. Like, everybody has their what they go after. I right now I'm saving as much money as I can to retire so that I can do this. So I'm about 5 years away from retiring. So
nice. Now I'm going to show a few books. One of my favorite shows to watch on YouTube is your Superman Sunday show. I love that show.
I appreciate that.
It's so good. You've got great guests. You know so much about Superman, and he's one of my favorite characters. So I just love that. So I wanted to show. I have a couple good Superman books, but that's one of the things that I'm actively working on is growing my Superman portfolio. So I'm going to show a few Superman books.
Well, I appreciate this. I'm a big fan of Superman, as we know, and
to the Superman master here. All right, this is Superman 8, and this is a Schuster cover.
Very nice.
I think it's got a lot of I love the yellow. I love the Superman yellow covers, and that's kind of what I'm going for.
Superman yellow covers are some of the best covers ever done, especially from about 1947 to about 1955 or so. There's a good chunk of yellow ones then that are just some of the best. For example, the one where Lois is Superwoman and she's carrying Superman, that's one of the best covers ever, period. And it's one of those yellow covers where with the three primary colors of Superman is one of the most iconic uniforms of all time. And it's probably one of the reasons I like it, because of the primary colors.
And that was a very recent pickup. This one was my my first kind of big Superman book. And I had a hat with this cover on it
Nice.
when I was a kid. So this is a Superman 9. It's a CBCS, but it is a 6.5 and off-white.
Very nice. Steven, how's my microphone now? Very gorgeous.
Yeah, I have a hat with this right on it. Oh. And then this is one
Still?
of
Okay, thanks. Still scratchy. Do you hear it? Because I don't hear anything here.
yeah, I do. I hear a little bit. You're going in and out.
That's really weird. Okay, well, I guess I'll speak up more.
Yeah, I hope it's okay for everybody. Here's Superman number 18. There's a little bit of restoration on it. I'm probably going to get it removed. This is one of my favorite propaganda wartime cover with Superman. I think those are great. Like the one that Steven showed like a couple weeks ago with Tojo and Hitler on it. I can't remember the number on that, but that's one of my favorite covers. And Superman with the war
Right.
propaganda are like some of my favorite books. And then
How about now? God, I'm asking, how's the microphone now?
it's sounding better for me. I can hear from what I can tell.
How's the microphone, Stephen? Yeah, that's part of what. Okay, great. That's I switched microphones to see if this works for a bit. Good. Okay, let's keep going then.
Now this is the biggest book in my whole collection,
Oh boy.
and this is a Superman number 1. It's probably the most valuable. I don't know this one or that Flash book that I have.
I am so
Might be.
jealous right now. I am so green. Very nice. Very awesome. See, I had a T-shirt with that picture for the longest time. Doesn't fit me anymore, so I had to get rid of it.
I think it's a gorgeous cover. I mean, it's one of the top books in the hobby, and I think for good reason. It's just from its historical context, being the first kind of superhero book that's dedicated to a single superhero. I know all the stories are not original, but nonetheless, this is just a gorgeous book. And there's what's interesting. I actually, I couldn't believe I got this around Christmas last year, and it was I fell out of my chair when I got it. It was I won't say what I paid for it, but it was you probably look it up on Go Collect, but it was I couldn't believe it. It's for a 1.0, there's a huge range in values for these books. So I'm considering going and getting, just making it kind of cleaning up the cover a little bit and
It's really nice.
increasing some value on it. So also now I'm going to show some. I mentioned, my favorite character of all time is Spider-Man. And when I first got into comic book collecting, that's the one I went back into. And I kind of started off with some kind of familiar covers that I had, that I loved, and then went and got kind of the bigger books. And then once I got into the bigger books of Spider-Man, I realized that, I could kind of grow my tastes throughout. So I'm going to show some Spider-Man books now. This is the first one that I got getting back into the hobby. It's this is the first appearance of the black costume, ASM 252.
That is such a good book, but I think it's overvalued. As I think the demand is there more because people think they need to own the book as opposed to actually wanting the book. But it's a good book. I did read it when I was a kid. One of my friends had a copy, and this was long before everybody thought about things like slabbing, or even condition. So when I was that came out when I was 12 or 13. And although we handled our comics carefully, I still got to read that one, and I thought it was cool.
Yeah, and there are like a bazillion of these on the census. I
Yeah.
think that's, but so and that's right. That's true for pretty much every Spider-Man book. But it's always in demand.
Well, that's what I mean. Like everybody likes. I mean, Spider-Man is the most popular character in the world. There's no doubt about that. And his big keys are always going to be in demand as a result. But at the same time, the raw ones are disappearing because everybody's getting them graded.
Yeah. Here's Marvel Superheroes Secret Wars #8. This is the origin of the symbiote
Yes.
suit.
That one I have never read. Honestly, I don't think I've ever read it.
And I have another. I have in raw form. I have all the Secret Wars books that are actually signed by Mike Zeck.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah, yeah. He does. His signature is a little harder to collect. And here's another book that I got almost right away, and book that everyone has. The first full appearance of Venom.
Yeah, that's another one that everybody's getting graded. But this one, understandable because it's Todd McFarlane signed. So
yeah, Todd McFarlane. This one's signed. I have his entire Spider-Man run, ASM run, and him signed as well, but in raw form.
Nice. Did you get them all yourself, or did you have to put it together over the years?
No, I picked it up. But it had been, and it was when they signed it on the back, on the front of the front cover back in the
Gotcha. Yeah.
2000s. But I love Venom, and that's another good book. Here's an ASM 39. This is one of my favorite Silver Age covers, period. This is John Romita. Got this one from mycomicshop.com.
Awesome.
And one of the things, I mentioned on Alan's show too, my whole family is involved with the collecting, and my daughter reads the books, and my son just loves collecting, and he and I kind of share the Spider-Man collection. And this is my daughter's favorite cover, very feminine cover, the annual number 21, the wedding.
Yes. I used to have that back when I collected before, but I don't have it now. That was a good wedding issue. I honestly, I do like wedding books. I think that they're interesting stories to go around, and I always want to see which villain is going to try and wreck it.
And one of the things that I collect, that I'm very interested in, I'm going to show maybe one of them, but the Mexican Spider-Man books,
right?
And it's by Luis Duran, and his art is really great. And there's an issue where Gwen Stacy and Peter Parker get married. Because in Mexico they didn't want to kill her off because she was so popular. And so I do collect the Mexican Spider-Man, and there's a wedding issue that's kind of the grail of the Mexican Spider-Man issues. Here's another one of my favorite covers. ASM 347.
Nice. So Stephen has a question for you. What system do you use to put the books up behind you?
It's a frame. They're frames. I can send it to you guys. I get them on. I got these on Amazon, but this is, you put a graded book in here, and it's got UV protection.
Nice.
And it's nice and thick. You can see how thick the UV protection is too. And everything I have is I got some level of UV protection, and I put my big books that I like hanging and displaying on the wall in that. They're pretty expensive, but for these big books, it's worth it, in my opinion. Another one of the big books that I got into, signed by Stan Lee, and that's
Of
also
course.
John Romita.
Oh, that really makes it. There's lots of those signed by Stan Lee. I don't think there's that many signed by Romita.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and this one was verified by Stan Lee, and it wasn't John Romita. So I'll probably get this submitted on this using the signature series. But this is my favorite story. I think it's a great cover, one of the big covers of that era, and a really good story. Another good story, and this is ASM 97. So John Romita cover. This is the drug issue. And what's interesting here is that you'll see that there is no approved by the Comic Code Authority here.
Yes, I remember he decided to print those anyways because the Department of Health and Welfare in the United States actually asked him to put these out.
Yeah, I think like Nixon specifically asked them to do something like this, an anti-drug issue.
Because especially, and my understanding is that Marvel was asked because A, DC was run by a bunch of old fogies, and B, Marvel had a bigger audience in the college crowd, but that was the people they wanted to target as well as the kids because there were a lot of marijuana at the universities at the time. So
Here's another. This is a Mexican Spider-Man, and I couldn't find. I was going to show much more of them, but this is an example of it. I don't know what number 147. This only exists in Mexico, not in the main series. Yeah, MJ with she's got one boot that's leopard print and one that's leather.
as is the style at the time, of course. Now, wait till you see her with the onion in her belt.
Here's an ASM number 5.
Nice. That is probably one of the better under 10 books.
Yeah, this of the ones in the top 5. This is the least expensive book, but it's a pretty fun story. Kind of crossover with Fantastic Four, and it's number 5.
Dr. Doom.
Yeah,
It's interesting how Dr. Doom appeared in issue 5 of both Fantastic Four and the ASM.
Oh, I never thought of that. That's true. And then here's number 4. ASM number 4 and Ditko cover, first appearance of Sandman. This one has got some. I might get the pen removed off from this sometime.
Nice, though. It's still a nice book.
Yeah. And I do have a 3, but I couldn't locate it. I'm not sure where my son put it. So, which is one of my favorite books, which is Doc Ock is probably my favorite villain in all of comics. So, but here's an ASM number 2.
Beautiful. Vulture is awesome too.
First Vulture. Yeah.
I like the fact that Vulture was used in the movie. Like Michael Keaton did a good job with that one.
Yeah, I agree.
I thought that was that was one of the better performances I'd seen.
And this was I would call this maybe my first big book when I got back into the hobby here. ASM number 1.
Bing.
And I mentioned it was on Alan's show. This is a Pence copy.
Yes, that's cool. My I only own one Pence copy book too, and it's my first appearance of Son of Satan, my first full appearance
Oh,
there,
nice.
Ghost Rider 2. So
And I don't understand why that they're priced, why they're priced so much lower. But
I don't understand either because they're rarer.
yeah, exactly.
But I guess the demand is there for the American versions because even in Canada, most people until recently when the Canadian price variants were finally the newsstand Canadian price variants were finally starting to show some value, and they were doing that because Americans were interested in the variant. That's when the Canadians finally said, you know what, I'm cool with buying these Canadian price variants now, because everybody used to dump them. Like there's so many of them I got in the dollar bin just because they had Canadian on them.
Yeah, but aren't Canadian price variants typically worth more than the U.S. books?
They should be. They are now in the United States, and they're just catching up in Canada where they're starting to be worth a little more because people are realizing now the rarity. Because Canadian price variants were 1/10 of 1/10 of the run. Because back then, you had your newsstands. Well, 1/10 of your newsstands would be done for the Canadian market because we were 1/10 of the population you guys are, and so forth, which made them quite rare. So,
Yeah, this is an AF-15. This is probably this is probably my favorite book in my collection, actually. Even
I would say retirement has been very good for you.
yeah, it's better than motorcycles. 'Cause
Certainly
that was the other hobby that I picked up, and I got into a terrible motorcycle accident.
Oh,
I'm just
poor
starting to
guy.
walk about a year later, so
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that you went through that, but comics are a lot safer. Your worst thing is either mold inhalation or paper cuts.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, this was is there's no marble chipping here on the side. There's a little bit up top. Some of that is just chunk taken out the book, but nice cover, nice colors. I got this from my comic shop, of course.
Very nice. Okay, we're going to leave it at that, Aubrey, because I see by the clock on the wall we need to sort of wrap it up because a lot of my crowd likes to go watch Nate, and he's on in a few minutes. So I don't want to keep them here, so to speak.
Fantastic. Yeah.
Just a quick check with everybody. What's Adam's number at the moment? Dazzler time. Maybe next time. Let's see what Adam's got here before we go. Let's take a look up and at them. That is a great name. I love that name. Is that 97? Can we get him to 3 more subs in the next 2 minutes? I will juggle in the meantime. Do. Look, see this. It may look like I'm not juggling anything, but really, these are parts of my life. So, in the meantime, thank you everybody for showing up. I want to thank AG for being a wonderful guest. You have an absolutely gorgeous bunch of books there.
Thanks for having me.
Hope to have you on again at some point. And thanks to Terry, a dead man, for joining the channel as a member tonight. And if you are watching on the rerun, we have tried to get Adam up to 100 subs tonight. And if Adam reaches 100 subs by, I'll say 10 o'clock Eastern, I'll give you guys a couple hours. If Adam makes it to 100 subs by 10 o'clock Eastern, I will have a 6th prize. My video is up for, what's his channel? Up and Adam Comics. Hang on here. Let's see if I can drop the link. I don't know if any of the mods are still around. I know that Nate had to leave. He had to get ready. Let's take a look quick. I love it too because every time I see it, sometimes I'm like, up and at them. No, it's Up and Adam. Up and at them because of the Simpsons. And here we go.
He's such a great artist.
He really is. And bluntly, his videos are very soothing. They're nice. You're not being yelled at. Like some people are like, hey, how are you? Look at this. Dope is great. And I love him for it. And he's about the only guy with a channel like that I can watch because it's hilarious. It's great.
You have to have the right personality for
Exactly.
it.
And same with
Yeah.
Son of Crom. When he does his personalities, it is absolutely great. Okay, we've got one more sub to Adam here.
All right. There you
So
go.
let's go. Let's go. Let's see if we can do this. We're at 99. One more, people. One more. See if we can do it just as we sign off. Thank you very much, everybody, for joining us tonight. My name is Matt. I like comics, and I hope you do too. Bye, everybody.
Take it easy.